Should have put the headset on to do all this. That's all right. Now we're ready to roll here as soon as he gets connected. Yes. Who was that masked man? That's all right. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Ready? Oh. And welcome to the sports show here live from the Rusty Keg Tavern in Washington Courthouse, 1801 Columbus Avenue is the exact address. We'd love to have you stop by, or hope you're listening or viewing this program, as we want to hear from you on the victory from Clinton Massey last night. That occurred at Welcome Stadium. 21-14 was the final score. I'm sure most of you were listening or were there, but it was an exciting game as Clinton Massey defeated the Archbishop Alder Knights in that game, and will advance on to the semifinals. And of course, I want to thank Coach Raybeck for being our partner, and Rick Phillips was alongside of us and keeping everything going, and we appreciate that. I want to say hello to Jeannie Ireland down in good old Texas, and she was listening in last night, and former teacher at Clinton Massey, and also her husband was very instrumental in starting Clinton Massey football, and both of their sons played on the very first Clinton Massey team in 1963. So want to thank them. Also want to thank our guy over in Vietnam, Mr. Mattingly over there, who's over in Vietnam, and also his dad, Dennis Mattingly, who was listening last night as well. We weren't able to get to our Facebook page to get comments there because of some technical issues, and I won't go into a lot of detail there, but we're not able to do that. But the folks listening in Tennessee with the EC or the Clinton Massey Youth Football Program, they are down there for a big tournament. And also various family members and folks listening all over the country and around the world as well. Let's get to a little bit of statistics last night in that 21-14 win by Clinton Massey. Hunter Fentress for the Clinton Massey Falcons. At quarterback, he was 1 for 6 for 17 yards and no touchdowns. However, rushing, that's where Bailey Wolf has made his money, not made his money, but made a career for Clinton Massey. Number 15, Bailey Wolf, 35 carries, 126 yards, 3.60 average. His longest run, 14 yards, and he scored 3 TDs. Hunter Fentress with 1 run with no yards. Kelson Gowden, 2 carries for 7 yards and 3.50 average. Jared Halley, he ran the ball several times, especially early in the game, 4 for 10 and a 2.5 yard average. Chase Wolf, number 7, 11 carries for 43 yards and a 3.9 average, and the average for the team was 3.51 carries, 186 rushing yards, 53 attempts, and the longest run was Bailey Wolf's 14-yard run. And as I said, our Massey scored 3 rushing touchdowns. Also, Jice Loud was in on the running game. 14 is his number, and he had 1 reception for 17 yards. So a nice, or 1 run for 17 yards. And also, offensive fumbles and pancake blocks. Hunter Fentress fumbled once, did not lose the ball. Chase Wolf, number 7, fumbled the ball twice and lost it once, and so the team only lost 1 fumble. All-purpose yards, Jice Loud, number 14, and received got several yards, 17 receiving yards, and kick returns, 10 yards, punt returns, a total of 76 yards at 103 all-purpose yards. Bailey Wolf, 126 rushing yards and no receiving yards, no punt return yards, for a total of 126. Hunter Fentress not getting any all-purpose yards, but Kelson Gowden had 7 rushing yards and had a total of 14 yards overall. Jared Howley, number 10, and had 10 rushing yards, and a total of 20 yards overall. Chase Wolf, 43 rushing yards, 86 yards overall. The team totals 186 rushing yards, 17 receiving, 10 kick returning yards, 76 punt returning yards, for a total of 369 yards. Also, we have sacks. Austin Flora, number 34, had 1 sack and for a loss of 14 yards to the Alder Knights. So a great job on sack there for for Austin Flora. Austin Flora also recovered 1 fumble for 3 yards. Kickoffs, 89, Victor Narciso for Clinton Massey, 2 kickoffs, 116 yards, and a long of 59. Number 9, Callum Jones on kickoffs, 2 kickoffs for 55 yards and a long of 30. Team total was 4 kickoffs, 171 yards, and 59 was the long. Punts, Zach Santoro, 3 punts, 133 yards, 44.33 average, and a long of 49. All right, let's go to the kickoffs and punt returns. If I can get to them here. For the Clinton Massey Falcons, We have Josh Loud, 2 kickoff returns, 10 yards, an average of 5, and punt returns 4 for 76 yards and an average of 19 yards. The longest was 58 and a total of 86 kick returning yards for Josh Loud. Bailey Wolf, 1 kick off return and no yards. And so we have a team total of 166 points scored. And guess who's leading that category after touchdowns and 3 attempts and a perfect 1,000%. And touchdowns and conversions. And once again, that was Bailey Wolf, number 15, and 3 rushing touchdowns for a total of team total of 3 as the Massey Falcons defeated the folks from Archbishop Alder, Kettering Archbishop Alder. So Massey will advance to the next round of playoffs. Once again, you can text us if you have want to chime in here on our broadcast. We would love to hear your comments. Text us at 937-527-2725. And once again, want to thank our international audience, and I'm going to put these papers out of my way. That's gtvr.net. Spread the word and tell everybody you know, and you can message them on Facebook, or you can get them the information to them any way you can, email, whatever. It's gtvr.net. That's where you will hear the game next week, too, wherever we are and whoever we play. Looks like it might be Kenton, but we'll see. We will have that posted on our website coming up hopefully Sunday evening or Monday at the latest, and we'll keep you up to date and have all the information for you on next week's game. Once again, we want to thank the folks at Welcome Stadium for their accommodations last night, as they supplied us with some great food and great press box and lots of things. But once again, if you'd like to text us and chime in, we'd love to hear from you here and on the sports show at the Rusty Keg Tavern, 1801 Columbus Avenue in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. Please come and join us. The doors are open. They are ready for you. They've got some outstanding food here. It's one of my favorite subjects. But we here in just a moment, we're going to be joined by I guess my co-conspirator in crime, Rick Phillips, whenever he gets ready and can get away. We'll talk a little bit more about the game. Coach Raybeck is kind of on tour today. I think he's going to watch his son Zach in wrestling, and he may be going to see Huber Heights play football as well. So got a lot going on, but we are so glad you have joined us here at the Rusty Keg Tavern in Washington Courthouse. And Rick, whenever you're ready, come on in and we'll talk a little bit about the game last night and some exciting things going on with you. Got applause. I don't know how that works.
Well, I paid him $10.
Well, he'll do anything for $10.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Your thoughts on the game last night?
Well, I think that it was what we expected. We expected a very tough game. I mean, we had the number 1 seed in Kettering Alter and the number 2 seed in Clinton Massey playing each other, and it was fought, as a 1 and 2 seed would fight that game.
Right.
Very close. Obviously, from the standpoint of Clinton Massey, it turned out better the way they wanted
Right.
it. But it was an exciting game. It was down to the minute. I think that actually the game could have gone into overtime within the last minute of the game.
Right.
Alter was very close to scoring another touchdown. They just ran out of time, and that was probably the main problem. Was if they would have had another few minutes on the clock, they probably could have gone down and punched it in.
One of the things is in the third quarter, basically Alder didn't get hardly any touches on the football, and Massey just dominated the third quarter and took the whole third quarter out of the Alder picture.
I think that was probably the turning point, was the fact that obviously Massey was up by a touchdown going into the half. And we said, depending on what happened, because Massey had won the coin flip at the beginning of the game, and they deferred to the second half, so they actually were able to take the kickoff to start the second half. And there was some doubt because they actually had a fourth down with a couple yards to make, and they went for it. And we didn't really think that they were going to actually attempt that, but that was a very gutsy call by the coach, and obviously it was successful, and that continued the drive and allowed them to keep control of the ball that entire time. So ultimately, that's what led to that scoring drive and up by 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
And that probably was the definitive part of the game, was that third quarter, and the result in Massey winning the game.
Massey also went for it on fourth down 2 or 3 times during the game and was able to convert, and that was a huge swing for them.
I think that that was basically what they've done all season.
Sure.
They took those risks, particularly when they were down, let's say on their opponent's side of the 50-yard line, down in the 40-yard or closer to the goal line, position. Really, that's 4-down territory.
Yes.
Because any effective punt, if you're kicking from your opponent's 40-yard line, would probably go into the end zone, would come back out to the 20, and so it was a calculated risk, but obviously a risk that they were willing to take. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It looked like Bailey Wolf was playing both ways last night, and he asserted himself, and of course the offensive line was key for his running effort last night.
Yeah, I think that there was obviously some question with injuries that he might have sustained, and whether he would come back and what his capacity would be. Obviously, the week before, with McNicholas, he set the school record with 365 yards. I don't think anyone expected that he was going to do that against the tough defense of Alter. So it was expected that, it was going to be a lot harder for him to gain yardage. But still, he gained over 100 yards against a very, very tough Alder Knights defense. And they were keying on him. There's no question. They knew from the week before that he was the individual they had to stop in order to have any chance of winning the game. So they were keying on Bailey, and obviously he still managed to get good ground yardage under those circumstances.
But he was also helped out in the first half, especially by some other running backs that I don't think that Alder was necessarily expecting them to carry the ball.
Well, I think that obviously the coaching staff at Massey knew that he was going to be keyed upon and felt that they needed to have some options so that they could use other running backs, other players that could potentially break those runs, because Alter would be keying on their running back, and that's exactly what happened. So I think it was good planning and good coaching on the part of the Massey coaching staff, and obviously it worked for them.
And when their defense needed to stop Alder, they got the job done.
Well, that's been the case all year with Massey. Massey's defense, we don't even have to elaborate on that. They've just been spectacular. They obviously have done that virtually every game of the season, and last night was no exception. Very impressive defense. We had the defensive coordinator on last night at the end of the game or after the game, and it was apparent that he was very thrilled with the way the defense had played last night. He had said obviously that there were some maybe errors, but that's the case with any game.
Yeah.
Obviously, they rebounded from those errors, and we're managing to stop Alter on the most important downs.
One of the key things when you're in the playoffs is injuries, and doesn't look like Massey sustained maybe some bumps and bruises, which is expected, but no serious injuries, and they'll be healthy for the next round.
I believe so. I don't think that obviously there were no Massey players that we saw during the game that went down. Alter had a couple incidents as far as players going down. Their one running back, their best ground gainer, he did come back and play. So he didn't sustain any real severe injury. But I think Massey, as you say, other than the bumps and bruises that you would normally associate with any hard-fought game, Massey has come out of it unscathed, and they will be ready for whoever their next opponent is.
Looks like it might be Kenton, but we'll have to wait and see till Sunday night or possibly Monday sometime before noon. But if you'd like to text us, please do so. 937-527-2725 with your comments on the game last night. Obviously, you may have seen some different things than what we saw, but we'd love to hear from you. Hope that you're watching and love to text us and tune in. And once again, we had a nationwide and a worldwide audience last night.
The analytics were great. We had over 400 individual unique IPs yesterday on our site, which obviously indicated that we were getting a tremendous viewership. When you really think about GTVR and the fact that since our sports programming has started, which was basically the start of the football season, we have grown each week, and it certainly hasn't hurt that we've been able to follow a team like the Massey Falcons, who are defending state champions and who are going for a repeat. And obviously, they've helped in boosting our listenership and viewership, and we certainly hope that we can ride them all the way to another state championship.
Certainly we do, and one thing on the next game that I've decided to put in the pregame is we're going to replay the old coach Tony Lampke's comments about the birth of Clinton Massey football, for one reason, because the founder of Clinton Massey football, Frank Ireland's wife, was listening in Texas, and she's 90 plus years old and still wants to follow Clinton Massey football. I think that's great.
I think that that's one of the reasons that when we started GTVR and we launched our network, we wanted to bring in sports initially, because sports appeals to everybody, whether you're male or female, whether you're 9 or you're 90.
Yes.
And certainly when you have a team like the Massey Falcons that, you can sort of showcase your network initially around, it certainly doesn't hurt when we have the opportunity to follow the Massey Falcons throughout the playoffs.
Certainly, and also the Clinton Massey youth football was in Tennessee for, kind of a tournament down there or a couple of games, and that youth football team and their parents were listening last night, so we want to say a big hello to them as well. And the Mattingly family, Dennis in Wilmington, and I think Tom South was eating lunch or supper with him, and he was listening to the game, and his son in Vietnam was listening to the game. So truly, we are global and able to reach out to people that cannot get the broadcast or the information any other way.
Well, I think that, once again, that is the beauty of new media. We can be very responsive, and things can happen immediately. There's a lot more feedback that happens and that we can you respond to, such as a text message coming in during the game and us being able to respond to that listener. You don't get that with traditional radio. You don't get that with traditional television. You don't get that certainly with newspaper.
No.
So with new media, we have the ability to really, share in the experience with our audience and with our listeners, and respond in real time, to their questions and to their comments. You don't get that with traditional media, and that's the great thing about GTVR. Global TV radio is new media, and we have the ability, like no other media, to be instant.
One thing we're going to do is next Saturday night, and this is not going to be football. We will have football next Friday from wherever we'll be and whoever Clinton Massey plays, we are going to webcast live video and audio of the Holodazzle Parade in downtown Wilmington, one of the biggest parades anywhere.
Right, and one of the things that I was looking at my son's Facebook feed that I get on my phone, and he is the grain elevator at Buckley Grain Elevator, and the star, which is up on the grain elevator, which they turn on, which starts the initial parade at Holodazzle. He was testing it, and he had it sort of folds down off, so that you can't see it any other time other than during the Christmas season and the Thanksgiving season. Well, he had folded it, put it up, and was testing it, and forgot to turn it off. And he obviously Buckley was getting a lot of phone calls. You can't have that the star on. It's supposed to be once Holodazzle starts. So he'll be lighting it to start the parade, and of course we'll be there covering it.
Yes.
And so I'm looking forward to it. It's my first. This is going to be your fifth or sixth?
Fifth, I think.
Well, so we'll be covering it live on GTVR,
yes.
And once again, we'll have the ability with our chat room and with text messaging to talk to our listeners as we broadcast the parade.
Sure. One thing we need to do too is thank our sponsors for last night. They were just super, and we're getting some great sponsors. Folks like the Equipment Superstore, BDK Feeds, and Blanchester today are having their 4th annual Customer Appreciation Day. Great bargains down there. Of course, Equipment Superstore has all kinds. You like when I say bush hog?
Yeah, bush hog.
Yeah. As opposed to any other kind of bush hog. But anyway, they have great equipment out there. Route 73 Homes out on Route 73 South. Brian Lawrence out there, who's one of our old East Clinton grads. And also, and I know we're in a restaurant, but I want to thank Carrie Steed of Generations Pizza too. So we want to thank our sponsors. They without them, we couldn't do what we do.
Absolutely, and we want our listeners and our viewers to make sure that they go in and they patronize these fine advertisers and give them a call and just thank them for bringing our broadcasts because, as you say, without our advertisers, without the people that support us, not just our listeners, but our advertisers, this wouldn't be possible.
Right. All right. Well, I see if our young waitress here is somewhere available. We'll get her on. Let her talk about the Rusty Keg. Nobody knows it better than these gals that work here.
Well, we're getting to know it fairly well. Obviously, you know the fries, the steak fries, intimately.
I was going to say that, too.
I think that sometimes it's an act of love there. As you eat those fries, they're just absolutely fantastic.
And how about that taco salad that you so much enjoy?
There have been a number of these buffalo chicken dishes. They have a wrap. They have the nacho plate, which is huge. I mean, it's big enough for 2 people, but I somehow managed to eat most of it.
Yes.
But there isn't anything that I've eaten here that isn't just absolutely fantastic. This is a first-class operation. Every detail is covered. They have this beautiful patio that we broadcast from every Saturday morning, and they're in the process now of actually putting up sliding glass doors that will allow people to it will shield them from the inclement weather.
Right.
And right now we've got some pretty heavy plastic up, but these doors will be in, as I understand, by the end of the month. And so that will allow additionally people to enjoy this patio year-round. The doors can open during the summer, and it's just it's an extra addition to an already fine restaurant. And I guess what I'll do is get out of here, and we'll talk to one of the young ladies that work here.
Well, this patio more than doubles their capacity for people to come in and eat and spread out and have a great time.
And in most cases, the patio probably is one of the more desirable parts of the restaurant. Now, they've got other parts of the restaurant. They've got a large banquet room where they hold banquets. Last Saturday, they had a big Ohio State party there.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, Ohio State coming on last week at noon. The patio was packed. The inside area was packed. And, it's just an absolutely fantastic location with fantastic food. And we're going to talk to one of their fantastic employees right here.
Yeah, and every Saturday after the broadcast, we eat like the final meal for condemned criminals. So we eat good here, and it's great food. So we'll let this young lady come in and talk about the Rusty Keg.
Right.
All right, come on in here, dear. You got the cue cards ready out there, Tom? You got the cue cards ready? She knows this place backwards and forwards. All right. Your name, young lady?
Rachel Vance.
Rachel Vance. Are you from here in Washington Courthouse?
I sure am.
You sound like you've got a little bit of an accent.
I am originally from Kentucky.
Oh, that explains it. I've got cousins that were transplanted from here to Kentucky, and now they sound like true blue Kentuckians.
You don't notice it when you're down there, and then when you come up here and go back down there, it's a shocker. And now I know why everyone stared at me when I first moved up here.
Well, tell us a little bit about the Rusty Keg. How long have you been here?
Since March. So, and I love it. This is the first job that I've actually loved. So.
Well, I hear nothing but great compliments to Brian and his wife that own the Rusty Keg on how they treat the employees well and are nice to work for, great to work for. So what's your favorite part about the Rusty Keg?
I mean, the food's awesome. I'm a picky eater, and I've loved everything I've ate here. And, I mean, this place is the place to be, especially on Fridays and Saturdays. It's packed with the new patio. I mean, everybody always talks about how great the food is here.
Well, as the younger people would say, this place is the bomb.
Yep, the bomb. That's it.
What is your favorite food?
I don't know. There's too many favorites.
Yeah. Well, I'm partial to the Rusty Keg burger, but my first choice is always the fries.
Oh yeah, everyone loves the fries, and the portions that they give here, men can't even usually eat it all.
Yeah.
So.
I've starved myself for like 2 or 3 days just to come here, and sometimes I can't eat it all. It's immense portions. Yeah, it's great food. And tell us a little bit about what goes on here at the Rusty Keg. As we were talking, always a football game or some sports on TVs, multiple TVs all over the place.
Yep. We've got 2 big screens outside on the new patio. We've got big TVs on the inside, in the front and the back, so no matter which side of the tables you sit on, you can see a TV. The games are big here. There's one today, Saturday, or it's the Ohio State game. People come, and there's always sport channels on, so this is a big gathering for the sports.
Well, last week, Ohio State played like at 12 noon, and my man Tom South out there was leading cheers every time Ohio State scored. So it's a very fun atmosphere here whenever there's a game on.
Oh, yeah, it gets packed. And people, I don't know, it's a big social group here.
Sure. And it's you can spread out here on the patio. It's not cramped. There's lots of room, and you can see the TVs from virtually anywhere on this patio. You've got the bar out here, and once you get out here, don't have to go anywhere.
Nope. And people do. They mingle. You can go inside and outside, and people go back and forth all throughout the time that they're here.
The patio is heated, and it's very comfortable out here today.
It is. It's really warm.
Yeah. Very nice. And tell us a little bit about some of the other gals that work here and work at the Rusty Keg.
Oh, it's all girls that serve. No fun. No, I don't think they'd be happy about that. We got a bunch of cute girls that work here, and they're all really friendly. They love the customers. Everyone here loves their jobs. So. The customers make it fun. It's very laid back. I mean, like you said, Brian and Kelly's a good people to work for. Not only just because they're your boss, but I mean they're so down to earth and they're good people.
Well, that's great, and we're so glad that you took time out before you get real busy in here, and it kind of varies depending on a lot when the Buckeyes play, how busy you are on Saturdays especially.
That's exactly right.
We got the number one Buckeye fan out there hollering, "Go Bucks!" And so I'm going to let you get back to work. Once again, your name?
Rachel Vance.
And hopefully we'll get some folks up here that have seen you on gtvr.net, and we'll tell you how much they enjoyed you being on our program.
This is the first for me.
Well, hopefully it won't be the last. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Very, very good. I have a text here from our man Tim Cleaver. Yeah, I know it's you, Tim, but have you ever thought about just covering Falcon football only? Well, we've got some plans in the works, and I can't reveal those plans, but we may be covering a lot more football next year and in the very near future. We can work out the details, but we're wanting to expand, of course, our broadcast and expand a lot of things that we can do. There's a ton of things we can do. It's just a matter of sometimes logistics and manpower. But yes, the Falcons certainly would be high on that list, as they have been a very, very popular team, as we have talked about as far as their playing football. They've been, I think, 12 years in a row in the playoffs. Obviously not winning in the playoffs every year, but this year they are going to the semifinals and hopefully on to a state championship. But yes, Tim, we would love to do that. One score that Tim had passed on to us last night, Steubenville beat Indian Valley 17-14. So that could come into play as well. But for the state championships, and we appreciate everybody chiming in this morning on the sports show. Once again, if you have a text, we've got a couple more minutes. We'd love to spend with you. 937-527-2725 is the number to text me. I'm right here looking at the phone, and if you text right now, I'll get right to you. Once again, want to thank not only Welcome Stadium, but we want to thank the Clinton Massey Falcons and the Archbishop Alder Knights, and for a great game last night. Final score once again was 21-14, and Clinton Massey, of course, comes out on top on that game. But we're moving on to the semifinals, and we will find out where we will be going to watch Clinton Massey play and to bring you that game. We thank our worldwide audience. Thank you for listening on gtvr.net. That is Global TV Radio. Sometimes you may think I over-promote, but that's the reason we do it, is because of you, the listening audience. We want you to spread the word for us, but we want you to be informed and entertained by what we do on our broadcasts and our webcasts. So we hope that you'll continue to be with us. Tell everybody you know. If you're on Facebook, you can friend me, Lee Hendee, LeeHendee, and I'll be glad to accept your friendship, and I'll keep you up to date on what's going on with our not only Global TV Radio, but Clinton Massey football and many, many other things that we'll be doing over the next few months. So we thank you, and we thank all the folks here at the Rusty Keg Tavern in Washington Courthouse, 1801 Columbus Avenue, for their great hospitality and all the food and all the hospitality here at the Rusty Keg Tavern. We have not gotten any more texts, so we may wind this up in about 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes now to text us on your comments on the game last night. Clinton Massey versus Alder. Another strong performance by one Bailey Wolf. And he was every bit the force that we thought he would be. Congratulations to the Alder Knights. They played hard. They played a great game, but just at the end, as Rick Phillips said, I think they just ran out of time for the mere fact that Clinton Massey dominated the third quarter, and Alder had a couple of series, but it was like 4 and out, and just not able to get anything connected in the third quarter. Fourth quarter was a little bit different, but Massey at the end comes out victorious by the score of 21-14 at beautiful Welcome Stadium in Dayton, Ohio. And I want to thank Tom South for being here this morning, the number one Buckeye fan, and he'll be leading the cheers later on somewhere this afternoon about 3:30, 4 o'clock, as the Buckeyes will be playing Indiana. It's senior day at the Shoe. We've been to the Shoe. Tom's been there a few times. I've been there once, and that is some place to watch football. Over 105,000 I'm sure will be in attendance today, and the Shoe will be rocking up there big time. Well, we are going to wind it up here at the Rusty Keg Tavern. Once again, we thank you for joining us. We thank you for watching. And in just an hour or two, we'll have, or maybe a little longer than that, we'll have the audio stream from the game last night up on our website, gtvr.net. And we will also have this game or this broadcast up later on. And Tim Cleaver asked me another question. Kenton has national quarterback. Do you think Massey can stop them? Well, they stopped a pretty good quarterback last night, and Hayes from Alder, but I'm sure he's not quite at the level of Kenton's quarterback. But seems like when Massey needs to rise to a challenge and get the job done, they are certainly capable of that. But as we all know, one man does not make a football team. Now, Bailey Wolf is a strong running back for Massey, but it's that offensive line and all the players around him that make it go. So if Kenton just keys on that quarterback, Massey's going to be ready for him, and they'll have a great defensive plan in place and a great game plan in place next Friday night. If Massey does play Kenton, and it's very likely that they will. So, but we will have all those details for you very soon. As soon as they are available to us. I want to thank everybody from Clinton Massey. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, everybody. I kind of kept myself out of trouble with anybody on both sides of the ball for next Friday night on that answer, but we thank everybody for viewing this morning, watching this morning, and we're going to wind it up here at the Rusty Keg Tavern, 1801 Columbus Avenue in Columbus, Ohio. Tim Cleaver, you can come up here and be on with us any Saturday morning, and we'll talk Falcon football. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have all the Clinton Massey fans up here, and we'd love to have them here live at the Rusty Keg Tavern, 1801 Columbus Avenue, Washington Courthouse. I'm Lee Hendee for Rick Phillips, Tom South, and everybody here at the Rusty Keg. We thank you for joining us this morning at the on the Saturday Morning Sports Show. Thank you, and have a great day.